What is going on, everyone? Fresh off of Thanksgiving break, welcome back to Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Prime Time Production. I am here with my two co-hosts, Zach Williams, Tommy Bennett. How you guys doing, boys? It's been a long week. What are you boys up to?
I am enjoying the Rangers game on TV and fresh off a nice, lovely, delicious turkey. And Christmas is around the corner, but I am excited that I'll be going back to Arizona.
You going what for? What are you going back there for?
So we went in August just to go, but we liked it a lot, so we're just going back. We'll celebrate like 5-year anniversary of being married. So
Congrats,
that'll
dude.
always be fun. But I'll actually get to go to Mullet Arena.
Oh
So
man,
I'm actually kind of excited.
there you go. I've heard it's sick, dude.
So last time I was there, I drove by it just to drive by. I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I might as well just go see. Like, it's a cool setup, but it's like also right on college campus.
Yeah,
But it's pretty cool. Like, the parking actually works. They have like a really massive parking deck in between the football field and where Mullet is. So I got to see it, but I'll actually get to go inside. So that'll actually be kind of cool.
that'll be a blast, dude. Yeah, like I said, I've heard awesome things. But Zach, how you doing, buddy?
Getting through school and trying to be done with this crap.
You just sound so fucking defeated, dude.
College is fun. Enjoy it while you can.
I got finals coming up. It's just beating the crap out of me.
Yeah,
Drink
man.
a lot of beer. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Every finals week I had a beer studying for hours on end.
That'll get you through. But boys, we got 2 weeks worth of stuff to get into. We'll go with the most recent news. Kind of not too shocking, but Patrick Kane signs with the Detroit Red Wings. He's not in the lineup tonight, but he should be next game. What were your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, you got to think his relationship with Alex DeBrincat. He's going to another Original Six team. I just think this is an unreal fit, and it really is going to benefit both Patrick Kane and the Red Wings. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it's a great signing for the Red Wings, especially, at the price they got him at, $2.75 million for one of, if not the greatest American-born hockey player of all time. If he can pick up, where he left off a couple years ago and kind of brush this hip surgery off and get his play back to where he used to be, the Red Wings are going to be a really dangerous team, especially with him on the wing, outside of DeBrincat and Larkin.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I said like the episode where we were just kind of talking because like the rumors floated around, like he met with Toronto. We kind of had the whole episode of like, does that even make sense? And I think I said like he was gonna go to Detroit. Like that was just my hunch. It makes sense. They had the cap space. They had like $5 million to work with. Like Zach said, it's a $2.75 million. I mean, it's nothing, but good for them for having the space. I think you're starting to see the Yzer plan kind of come to life. A lot of questions were asked about the signings they made, like just over the last few seasons. Like they're not really like top 6 guys, but they're just like middle 6 players, but they're all playing really well. Comfer looks really good. Kopp is healthy, so that's a plus. And then Gostisbehere has been lights out on the back end, but trading for DeBrincat's been, just a new sign of life. And it's amazing that Larkin he lost Bertuzzi and got 2 legit wingers in one season. I mean, even if Patrick Kane isn't his normal self, I mean, he's really one season removed from 92 points. So it's not like he's washed, but hip surgery at his age, you never know.
Yeah.
But if he looks if he even looks remotely like his old self, like last season, just throw that out. Like, yeah, he had 50-something points, but he looked like he was skating through concrete the whole time. And it was obvious that he was laboring and he wasn't shy about it. But if he can at least just come back and just kind of get in a groove, it's a really big win-win for Detroit. Like that top 6 is actually pretty steady looking.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to come in and be the guy. He can just come in and be a guy.
Yeah,
I know he's got the name tag, but
yeah,
good for Detroit. I mean, and they're right there in the Atlantic. They're not a basement dweller. They're right near the tippy top, and they're playing pretty good hockey.
Yeah, man, that Black Friday game, where they played the Bruins, I mean, they fucking spanked them, dude. Like they were waxing the Bruins all over the ice. And I know we're not going to talk just Bruins, but man, just watching, I forgot how good Alex DeBrincat is, dude. Like the one goal that he scored where Patra had that bad
He
turnover.
pickpocketed Patra and just skated in. You were
He
there.
made that shit look so easy, dude, and he's just so dominant, dude. Like he's an unbelievable player for his size, and two guys that have had significant bounce back seasons. After sophomore slumps are Lucas Raymond and Mo Sider. I mean, those two
Yeah,
guys, man,
they look
talk
good
about
too.
bounce back years. Like the goaltending, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on it, and maybe come deadline time, we're talking about them bringing in a number one goalie. I don't know, but I really think this team can make a run. I mean, the way that they're designed, the way that Derek Lalonde has them playing, like this is a team that could be very dangerous down the stretch.
100% agree. I mean, they're playing really well, and I think like out of all the teams that you kind of had pegged that were going to take the next steps in Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit's really the most consistent. And defensively they're a little shaky. They're not bad, but they definitely have their breakdowns. Goaltending's it's there, but it's not consistent. Like Huso will have a good game, then kind of have a stinker, and it happens. They're human.
Yeah.
But the goal scoring is at a high rate. Like at the point of the Bruins game, they were leading the league in 5-on-5 goals, and their power play's clicking. And they're the only team that's burned the Bruins with the power play. So it's just good for them. Everything's clicking, and it's nice that the Yzer plan's taking a little bit longer than it did in Tampa Bay, but
Yeah,
it's starting to come together. And it's like, okay, like this is a good hockey team, and you know what? Good for Detroit. They're fun to watch.
yeah, for sure. You mentioned Shane Gostisbehere, man. He's the one that's kind of quarterback in that power play.
He's almost a point per game player right now.
Yeah, dude.
It's unreal. It was like a 1 year, $4 million signing, but man, has it paid off.
Yeah, dude. He's been very good, and he just looks like he hasn't lost a step. Like, yeah, he's gotten a little bit older, since his Philly days when he was really dominant. But man, it looks like he's back to his old self. And yeah,
Yep.
dude, you mentioned he's a point per game player. Like,
He had speaking of him, like he was actually really strong in Arizona. Like a lot of people probably don't know that because it's Arizona, and
yeah,
the West Coast time, like if you're East Coast, like the three of us, it's like, are you staying up late to watch them? But he was producing there too. I mean, he didn't have nearly as much production in Carolina, but he was still effective. But dude, watching him whip around the puck on the power play is some sexy puck movement out there, boys.
yeah, man. They looked good, man. And obviously, like it was the Black Friday game. I am always skeptical of matinee games, especially going to Bruins
Yep.
games, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and
Two of them in a row.
yeah, dude, and you could just tell, man. I'm like, they're gonna fucking wax us, and yeah,
They did.
sure, shit, dude.
They did.
Yeah, they did, but yeah, they're gonna be a dangerous team. You mentioned that we had those three teams. I think last time we talked, and I said at the beginning of the year, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit, and I think Detroit for me was actually the last of those three teams who I thought was gonna make a legitimate run, just because I
Yeah.
didn't really know how Mo Sider, Lucas Raymond, how these guys were gonna, respond after their sophomore slumps. They're the team that I think is going to be the most dangerous, especially now with
Yeah.
Kane. And there, as from all the reports that I'm reading, the medical staff was really impressed.
Yeah.
With his recovery and how he's been
Yeah.
skating and everything. So you got to imagine that they're going to be putting him with DeBrincat. I mean, they were
Oh,
lethal in
100%.
they were lethal in
100%.
Chicago, dude. And
Well, and that's like the Rangers. They tried to like force it with like Panarin, and it's kind of sucked for the Rangers because they didn't get the healthy Patrick Kane that Detroit potentially is going to get. Like we really don't know how Kane is going to look, but man, if he does, like you were saying, him and DeBrincat with that chemistry, like Dylan Larkin could have a career year when all is said and done.
yeah, absolutely, dude. I could see DeBrincat going for 50 again, hundred
It's
percent.
possible. He's leading the team in goals right now. He's
Yeah,
playing really strong hockey. I mean, he just looks better than he did last year. He had a good year, but it wasn't like a DeBrincat type year. Like I don't know if he wanted to go to Ottawa or not, but he just looked deflated. And
Yeah,
now playing in his home state, it's like
yeah, back
he's
to
happy. He's
yeah.
happy. He's playing hockey and he's happy.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, we had that move, which kind of shook the hockey world, I guess. Another event that kind of shook the hockey world, and still is right now, is what's going on in Chicago. Yet again, they're making the news. With this Corey Perry incident, cleared waivers, contract is terminated. We're not really getting any real information on what's been going on there or what happened. Um, that rumor about Connor Bedard and fucking, I feel so bad for this kid, man. Like he just can't get out of the spotlight, I guess. And it's just, for someone to make up some bullshit like that, like just crazy, man. Like I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on, this whole how this whole fiasco is played out? Like it's just we got no information. I mean, they don't have to share anything. It's just again just sketchy shit from Chicago yet again.
It's they don't get the benefit of the doubt, obviously, because of everything that happened with the Kyle Beach situation, and rightfully so, deservedly so. And a second person came forward and suing the team. So it's like now you have two people with this guy, and it's like the only thing, like, it's like I want to give the benefit of the doubt to Davidson because it's unfortunate for him because he wasn't part of that management crew. He wasn't there for that situation, I don't believe, and he'll, because it's the Blackhawks and because that is so recent, he'll always have that dark cloud over him, and that's the unfortunate part. And you could tell in that press conference, like, this bothered him.
Yeah,
There were tears. You could hear it in his voice that whatever happened is bothering him. The nice thing, I guess, that you can say about this, nothing's nice about it, but the fact that it was brought to his attention, he pulled Perry from the lineup. The guy doesn't have a job, and they're investigating. So it's not like he's covering it up and burying it. He's at least he's trying to do the right thing and go by the right processes for it. I feel bad for Connor Bedard. That poor kid, man, hasn't had a second to breathe. He's had the media down his neck ever since he's entered the league, and I get it. He's a generational talent, first overall pick. Just let the kid play hockey, man. And then he's got to deal with this rumor. It doesn't just affect him; it affects his mom, his family. These are people too.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we get to watch them for our entertainment and to sit here and talk about it. But like, this kid just hasn't had a second to just breathe and play hockey. Like, just let him go out there and play, and just he's got to now deal with this. And it's not even a positive media spotlight. It's something negative that he's got to deal with now as he's just trying to find his way into the NHL as an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, Zach, what are your thoughts on this whole fucking
Yeah,
fiasco?
so I think that the way that Kyle Davidson handled this is super professional. He was straightforward about it. He sat in a press conference and gave his thoughts, and obviously what is going on with all these rumors with Connor Bedard and his family are just disgusting. And it's like people on Twitter, one person says something, and next thing um, people are believing that Corey Perry actually did that. Um, and like you said, Chris, we don't know what Corey Perry actually did. I'm hearing it was a personnel, it's like something with someone else on the Blackhawk staff. Um, but then again, what can I even trust anymore when I see something, because with this whole Bedard thing, and like Tommy said, the kid hasn't had a second to catch his breath. He's getting hounded by the media. He's getting hounded by trolls on Twitter. All he wants to do is go out there and win and focus on doing what he loves, and he can't even do that because people are making up these bullshit rumors that aren't even close to true. It's like, just let the kid have a second. He's what, 25 games into the NHL? Like, let him enjoy his rookie season. Like, you're like ruining like what is supposed to be like a special season, a special moment for this kid. And it's just, I can't imagine what him and his family are going through.
Yeah, and I listened to Johnny Lazarus's their the Blue Crew pod, their most recent episode with Matthew Barnaby. And, Barnaby kind of said it best. He's like, yeah, these kids are programmed. I mean, he's a fucking superstar. He's a
Yeah.
born superstar. He's been in the media since 12, 13, 14 years old, whatever it was. And yeah, they're robots. But yeah, my thing is like, put all that shit aside. Like, yeah, they're trained with the media. You can't be trained for something like this. You know what I
No,
mean?
this is
Like,
totally different.
this
Like,
is
you
totally,
just,
completely
like
personal.
you just like, yeah. I mean, you just.
And I don't think they were discussing it in context with this specific situation. I think they were just saying media as a whole, dealing with. But something like this, man, you can't fucking deal with that. And like again, who else are they going to go after? They're not going to say another player. I mean, what other player are they going to fucking start a rumor about? But it's just it's just too bad, man. Like as soon as that shit came out, I was like, there's no fucking way. There is no way.
Terrible.
Like and again, yeah, let's not forget, man. Like I seen people on Twitter and stuff, and it's like, let's not forget this kid is 18 years old.
Yeah.
He's literally just a legal adult at this point, playing in the NHL, dealing with all this stuff, being in a new city. Like, yeah, it's terrible, man. And like, again, I applaud Davidson too. Like, I think he did everything by the books. Like, he did everything the way that you should. Like people are mad that they're not releasing information, but they don't have to.
That basically just stems from the past incident because of how bad that was, and rightfully so. Like,
Right.
and you want answers. Like, yeah, they shot down the rumor, but it's like, okay, well then, like, what did he do? And like everyone just wants to know because it's Chicago's really bad history, and it's just. Bedard too. It's like, okay, like he gets drafted. You get to live your dream playing in the NHL, but you go to Chicago of all fucking places.
Yeah.
Like, of all teams you could have got drafted to with this dark cloud, like, you go there. It just, and it's like that cloud is just not. It's like it didn't go away, but it was enough for the kid to maybe enjoy hockey, and now it's just back.
Do you think there was ever a doubt that Bedard wasn't going to go to a city like Chicago with all that tradition and all that?
I thought he was going to end up in Anaheim.
The minute that Jonathan Taves, you kind of knew his career. I'm assuming it's done. He hasn't officially retired, but clearly his health is priority. And Godspeed, brother. I hope he does, because he had a really tough go, like battling COVID and just not being able to play like himself. The minute they traded Patrick Kane, my buddy texted me. He's a big Ducks fan. He texted me and said, Bettman's going to fuck us and give them the pick.
So
I knew it. I knew that automatically. And Chicklets said it good too. Like, RA said it too. It's like amazing. Like, they did what they did, and they got rewarded a generational talent.
Yeah, well, don't forget, dude. I mean, look at all these teams that have gotten stripped of fucking first-round picks.
The Devils got stripped of a pick because of the Kovalchuk contract.
Well,
they got it back eventually, but my point is, it's like, you're really going to go ahead and take that away, but I mean, what did they do to Chicago? They didn't give them anything.
Nothing.
They didn't get punished for it. You got
they got
a generational talent.
Dude,
was your fucking prize. And the minute that Patrick Kane got traded and they lost that dynamic duo, I was like, they're gonna get Bedard. It's just the shoe fits. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was rigged, but Jesus fucking Christ, it just was so obvious.
Yeah, it worked out too perfectly for them, and I'm drawing a blank. I know there was a team that was stripped of I believe a first round pick or second round for the combine incident. Tampering at the combine. Yeah, I can't remember what team it was, but like, come on, dude. Like that.
Ottawa just got stripped of their picks too.
Yeah, dude, for the Dadonov thing, you're gonna strip, and it's like come the fuck on.
Hey, man. They're being nice about it though. They got to choose which first round pick they. It
doesn't. Yeah, but still, like, could you imagine? Like, I mean, at least giving Chicago like something.
Dude, yeah.
It just to me, the writing was just on the wall that, like, once they lost Patrick Kane, like, at the deadline and they traded him, I was like, it's so obvious. Bettman's not going to let this original 6 franchise go without a face.
Well, you know what's going to be the icing on the cake is after this year, they get fucking Macklin Celebrini. Like, can you
If,
imagine
if, if, like, and I tweeted this out. I actually tweeted this out. I was like, San Jose is going to have a historically bad year, and Chicago's still going to get that fucking pick.
Yeah, they're going to be rewarded.
It would not shock me in the slightest if that happens. Like, it just wouldn't. But I'm not saying that the draft was rigged, but the writing was so on the wall, like anybody could see it.
Well, and I'm not saying it was rigged either, but it makes you fucking question, right? Like it really makes you like.
That was like the 2020 draft. Like, the Rangers were like fighting in the bubble, and then they get Lafreniere, and I think was it Ottawa or LA that was the worst team in the league?
I want to say it was Ottawa.
It was either Ottawa
because I
like even like I just remember like it was between LA and the Rangers, like, to get the pick. It was like the final ball. And I just remember the Rangers got it, and like Rob Blake's face. I was like, he just sitting there, he's like, they just like basically were in the bubble and they get this kid. Like, granted, Byfield is turning into a very good hockey player right now, and Stutzel's the best player in the draft. But the point is, it's like, and that was right after they lost Lundqvist.
Yeah.
They needed something. It just makes you wonder. Like, I'm not saying these are rigged, but it really makes you wonder how this shit goes. Like, if San Jose has this historically bad year and doesn't get the first overall pick, stop with this lottery. Just stop it. Just don't do it anymore. It's like, I'm not saying like, teams, like, I get it. Like, it eliminates the whole tanking purpose.
Yeah.
But like, San Jose sucks so bad across the board. They need the pick. like they need that draft pick.
Why didn't the Bruins get anything for losing Bergeron and Krejci? Everyone else got something. Where's our love?
Yeah.
Speaking of just talking about the drafts in 2020, like Quentin Byfield, man, we have to touch on him, dude. He's like shattering career totals. Like, he's on pace for 69 points right now.
Nice.
And that guy has been on an absolute tear with LA. Like,
I love his game, dude.
He's almost a point per game player. Look, they drafted him as a center. He's playing wing right now with Anze Kopitar and Adrian Kempe. His impacts on the ice are huge. Like, he's just emerged as an exceptional player. Like, he's 4th in Corsi, 6th in Fenwick, 6th in expected goals. Scoring chances, he's 4th of all forwards when he's on the ice. And in the high danger area, LA is outscoring their opponents 10-4. And he's on pace for 69 points. That blows his career highs out of the water.
Yeah.
Good for them. And I think you're starting to see a lot of this 2020 class starting to blossom, because they all came in at a really shitty time in the world. The pandemic may have hindered their development a little bit. Good for Byfield, man. Like,
yeah, people forget that these kids, you mentioned Lafreniere, Stützle, Byfield. Byfield's 21 years old, dude. He's a 2002, and in 19 games, he's got 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points, and is a plus 11. Like, again, he's 21 years old, and people were already writing him off as a bust. Same with Lafreniere. It's like
everybody wants guys to be like McDavid and Matthews, and that's just not the case. Like, look at Jack Hughes; they labeled him as a bust, and now look at him. He's probably going to have more points than he did last year.
Yeah,
you can't have these expectations for these kids. Like, you want them to, and obviously their draft stock, allows that, but at the same time, like, they'll develop at their own rate. No.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned he's playing with fucking future Hall of Famer, dude. Like, and Kopitar probably is going to gun for another Selke this year. I mean, let's be honest here.
He can now. Bergeron's out of the league.
So he's got a good.
Mr. Selke retired.
Yeah. So, and LA's sitting at,
dude,
God
they
damn.
They are so good.
13, 3, and 3. 29 points in the Pacific. Third in the Pacific.
Wait,
that's unreal, dude.
Wait, they're 3rd in the Pacific?
They're 3rd in the Pacific behind
that's right,
Vegas and Vancouver.
Oh my!
Vancouver's a wagon too.
That's absurd.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Dude, LA is like, dude, structure-wise, like, that team is so damn good defensively, and they're getting the goaltending. They legitimately, like,
they'll make a run.
I wouldn't write them off. Like goaltending for me was the big question mark, but Talbot's playing really good.
If
I
Talbot
love
can
that
keep
team.
it, if Talbot can keep it up, this team's gonna be scary come playoff time.
I agree. I thought that team needed a goalie. I think Talbot was like the good move considering they didn't really have any money. But man, he looks so good compared to last year. Like it's good for them, but I'm happy for Quentin Byfield. I really just wanted to talk about him because, a lot of these younger guys, like they're really coming through. But man, that like he deserves some love, dude. He really does. Like he's emerged as a really special player.
Yeah, and continuing to talk about, these guys in LA, man. Drew Doughty looks like fucking vintage Drew Doughty too.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Yeah.
Kopitar, Trevor Moore's playing well. PLD's playing
Trevor
well.
Moore might be like one of the more underrated players in the league.
100%.
Like
100%.
Kaliev looks good too. Like
Yeah.
they're just clicking, dude. Like McClellan just
He knows
whatever he's doing over there, man. Like good for him.
Yeah, and kind of want to touch on a team too that is kind of heading in the opposite direction, and that's the Minnesota Wild, where this past week, man,
Oh,
they fired Dean Evison, who
smart
and
move.
we'll
Yeah.
touch on it, but and replaced him with John Hines.
Tommy,
you're
familiar with John Hines,
I
right?
hate that move.
Yeah,
That's so bad.
So
I mean, it's better than like Gerard Gallant, but like,
yeah.
oh my god.
But this is one of those things too that I feel like this was a little premature. Like I don't know. I feel like there's other coaches that should be on the hot seat, right? And probably should have gotten canned before. We mentioned Jay Woodcroft last episode, and now Dean Evison. But listen, DJ Smith still has a job somehow. I don't know how. I don't know why. But he still has a job, and I don't know for how much longer. But I think
something has to give in Ottawa somewhere because
right,
like how much worse can it get? Like, and that's a pretty solid team on paper,
right. But that's
and
what I'm
at least
saying.
Try.
And that's what I'm saying, man. And we won't get too off tangent, but to me, this seems like a little bit premature, man. Like they're having some serious goaltending issues right now, and very similar.
It's not even just the goaltending. I mean, you look at some of their their skaters that are like people are so quick to blame the coach. Matt Bull, 1 goal. Johansson, 1 goal. Kaprizov leads the team in points with 18, but only has 6 goals. Kaprizov's supposed to be their goal scorer. Like these guys, like Matt Boldy had a great year last year, and he's not doing squat.
That's the problem too. And you got like guys like Zuccarello only has 5 goals. Dude, you go through their entire stat list, like just as a team. They've only scored 59 goals in all situations. That's 25th. They've allowed 76 goals against. That sits at 26th. Their power play is disgusting. Their penalty kills the worst in the league. Their shooting percentage is 23rd in the league at 9.5. And their goaltending save percentage is 29th in the league with 876. They're underperforming, but there's nothing you can do because they have no money because of the Suter and Parise buyouts.
Right.
So
it's wild to me how
and at the point they fired Evison, they lost like 7 in a row. And you got Pat Maroon who's pissed off. And he's like, what are we doing?
It's just crazy how quickly Philip Gustafson declined. And
he was
like right behind Omar in save percentage and goals allowed average last year, and now it's like 2 different goaltenders. And I mean, you got Marc-Andre Fleury, but he's on the tail end of his career. Can't exactly blame the guy, and the Wild defense has been piss poor. So I mean, there's not much that these guys can do. But yes, there's got to be some change in Minnesota because it's rough out there.
Like you have to right the ship at some point. Like if the players aren't gonna get it done and they need like something to pick them up, then okay, like fire the coach. Like obviously the message is stale and maybe they hit their peak with Evison. Nobody wants to talk about it, but they're like the Toronto Maple Leafs of the Western Conference. They haven't been able to get out of the first round. Nobody wants to talk about it, but that's just a fact.
I feel like they're a team too that has way overachieved with their roster structure.
They don't have like a bad roster. Like now it kind of looks a little bleak because they have no money because of the
Right.
buyouts, but they'll eventually get money. But they still have decent defensemen. Like Faber's not bad as a rookie. Spurgeon's good. Brodin is still good.
Yeah, they just
That's
moved
like
Kalen Addison. We mentioned last episode
they
they
got
moved.
Bogosian. Bogosian's not a bad player, but
Yeah,
like Zach said, like all their top players are underperforming.
yeah. I
Like I
mean, you
think
mentioned.
Eriksson Ek leads the team in goals with 11.
Yeah,
That's
talk about
not
another
that.
sulky guy too.
Yeah, but you need more out of Kaprizov. You need more out of Zuccarello. You need more out of
Boldy.
yeah. Boldy. Jesus Christ, he's got 2 goals. He scored 1 last night.
Yeah,
It's just like like the roster is what the roster is because of the money, but they have to be better. I as a guy who's watched the Devils, like best of luck, brother. Best of luck with John Hines. I mean, it might be good this year. It doesn't really last that long. So I don't know if he'll be the next coach. I would maybe go look and bring somebody with a fresher mind in, but it had to come at some point. I hope they can turn it around.
yeah.
I
You got.
think if they kept it going, it would have happened eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily the guy. I don't think. I mean, I think he's going to finish out the year. I d-
Probably.
I don't see them having, especially how that Western Conference is laid out right now, and we just mentioned Vancouver, LA, obviously not the same
Yeah.
division, but I mean, Minnesota is going to have a really hard time being
Yeah.
close to making the playoffs at this point. So maybe they grab, a good pick, and who knows? For me, I don't see John Hines being the answer there.
No, I don't either.
I'd be shocked if he was, the coach next year. But you just mentioned his time with the Devil. It's like I guess it's from what I said before, I can understand if the message got stale with Evison, but I just can't understand the what you're bringing in after that. Like you can't sit there and tell me that he's a better option than Dean Evison at this point. You just can't. Like
Yeah.
I I don't know. It is what it is. We'll see how how this
But
year.
you know how the NHL is. They get the same recycled coaches in
Oh
over and
yeah.
over and over. I mean, I was calling for Dallas. Like I like that they named Pete DeBoer the coach. Like I think Pete DeBoer is a good coach. I wanted them to get Mark Savard.
Yeah.
He's worked with some of their like top end prospects, and I think that would have been good for a team like Dallas. But they're still doing well under Pete DeBoer, and it's fine. But that's a guy maybe I'd like to see like Minnesota go after somebody different, somebody with a new mind.
Yeah,
You got
young
all
like a
you got
younger.
these younger blood coaches that are actually doing well. Guys that aren't recycled, they're new. They bring new perspectives, and we'll just. But yeah, don't go call Alain Vigneault, who hasn't been in the league in like 4 years, to come
Fucking
coach.
Mike Babcock.
I don't think that'll happen, man. Not after the Columbus stint.
No. But man, some exciting news as far as the All-Star game. The 2024 All-Star weekend hosted by the Toronto Maple Leafs at Scotiabank Arena. It's going to be a 3-day event now, and they're bringing back the All-Star player draft. I'm so fucking fired up
I'm
for this,
so
dude.
excited
It's
Absolutely love it.
dude.
because like the player voting or the not the play well yeah the player voting, but it's like by the fan. That shit sucks because you just vote for your favorite player.
Yeah,
Like it's more fun if you get like a guy like Pasternak that just gets like pick his team. Like
yeah.
that's more fun to me. Like I'd rather do that. So that's gonna be really cool to see. I don't know who they'll choose, but from like a viewing standpoint as a fan, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, well, do you guys remember back? I forgot what year it was, dude. Do you guys remember when?
Luongo was still in the league, so it had to have been like,
Well, remember Kessel was the last pick, dude. Like
oh yeah,
it just was
wasn't it
so
like
fucking fitting, dude. It was so funny, dude. And
was that 2011?
I don't even
Has it
remember,
been
dude.
that long?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
Kessel's the last pick was hilarious.
and he took it like a champ, man. Like who better, just like he's
Didn't he get something out of it, like a car or something?
Yeah,
probably, dude.
Ovechkin. I saw a video today. Ovechkin was like talking to the guys. He was like, "Can I be the last pick? Like I need a car." Like you're like trying to convince
I think he got like a car out of it. So like
Ovechkin was like trying to convince all these guys to be the last pick, and like whoever the captain was, one of the captains was at the time, I forgot who it was, just looked at him and he goes, "No, you're Alex Ovechkin. Like you're not going to be the last pick.
You're probably going to be the captain."
Yeah, so they're saying, capping off NHL All-Star Weekend will be the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 showcase featuring elite
That's
players.
cool.
Yeah, featuring elite players from the Professional Women's Hockey League, the top professional league in women's hockey, 3-on-3 showdown in front of the whole crowd at Scotiabank Arena. I think it's a perfect opportunity, especially with how new the PWHL that's going to be starting in January.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect opportunity to kind of showcase, that new league and, what they have. Because I think it's going to be, although I was not very fired up about the jerseys and everything, I mean, they just seemed kind of, I don't know if you guys saw any of those.
They were all like word marked. I think they're coming out with logos. Like I think one of the women from like one of the teams, like they were saying like, oh, that's just like, it was just like generic just to like showcase the jersey, but they'll have logos. Like I don't think they're going to trot out every team with a diagonal word mark of what city they're in.
Yeah.
So, but they were so plain. I was like, please tell me they didn't really do this. Like, because the Boston Pride ones were sick. Like those jerseys were sick.
Dude, so I'm just reading this tweet right now. In the last 24 to 48 hours, there has been interest in adding a player like Corey Perry. This is from Frank Saravelli.
Yeah, I've already seen that.
Was that today?
Yeah,
I'm just getting this now.
That was a couple hours ago.
You know who's involved, right? I guarantee you. Boston. I guarantee you.
You know what? This is a good segue. We're gonna segue right into the
well, that's
in every situation. No fucking way should you sign him, dude. This would be like the third fucking type of weird scenario that you just shouldn't dip your toes into. And like, I don't think they really thought Lucic was going to do what he did. I don't. No. I think that was a great feel-good story for the Centennial season. He's never playing another game in a Boston Bruin uniform. I don't care what. He might literally stay in the player assistance program till his contract's up at the end of the year. He's not playing for the Boston Bruins ever again. That's not happening. Lucic fucked up. That's about as honest and blunt as you can put it. And, you hope his family's okay as they get through the situation. He's never playing again. Last year with the Mitchell Miller thing, you should have never did that. I don't care that you're trying to get younger because your roster is old as dirt. You don't sign him. You don't even do that. You don't even try. That's not an option. Go get somebody else. There's a million other young players in the league. Go find somebody else. That was catastrophic. That was probably Don Sweeney's worst 3 days at his job, because you didn't just have like the fan base get pissed off. You had the players pissed off, and they did not hold back speaking about it. And that speaks to the character that was in that room. And I'd like to think that character is still in that room. Given what just happened with Lucic, why would you sign Corey Perry? I don't give a shit that you need toughness. You want toughness, go find it somewhere else. Do not bring that into the city, into the locker room. Don't do that. Go find somebody else that can hit people if that's what you're really looking for.
Well, so
I mean, as awful as that would be, I mean, that would be such a Don Sweeney-esque move.
It's so stupid, though.
Yeah, well, I have, and Don Sweeney's done some, good things for the Bruins organization. Drafting Pasternak and what like that. That's probably the best thing he's done for this team. But he's also done some real stupid shit, and I've never been the biggest fan of Don Sweeney. Before he, I was really a fan of the Taylor Hall trade, but before that, I was on the fire Don Sweeney train. And I just think, if he signs Corey Perry, the organization has to take a long look at, it is Don Sweeney's time in Boston. because that would be a really an abysmal move. And
even if you bring him in, who the hell are you sitting? Like, who's coming out so you can plug him in on the fourth line to hit people?
It'd have to be Geeky or Heinen.
You're not taking. Yeah, you'll take Heinen. You're not going to take Geeky out. You just signed him to a 2-year, $2 million deal. That'd be a waste.
Well, so let me play devil's
advocate. The most underwhelming player. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he has. Well, I agree with that. And I think injuries have played a part in that.
He's on the fourth line right now.
Yeah,
they have Heinen in the top 6, and I just got roasted on Twitter saying, "Why would you want Heinen in the top 6? He doesn't do anything good." I'm like, okay, first of all, your profile pictures of a Bruins logo, so I guarantee you actually have like very little hockey knowledge. But yes, carry on about how much you don't like Dan Heinen and don't understand what he brings to the team. Yes, I agree. Thank you, sir, for your lousy input.
So let me play devil's advocate here with this Corey Perry thing. And I'm not saying that they should sign him or they shouldn't sign him. I'm just saying, do you think when it's all said and done that Kyle Davidson took his opportunity? We don't know what the hell happened. It could have been something as little as who knows, or it could have been something as big as whatever. Other teams are informed on what happened, right? Like, there's no way that just it's within the Chicago organization. I mean, other teams know.
It's possible.
Right? So do you think Kyle Davidson kind of just took this opportunity to kind of put his foot down and be like, we are not allowing any fucking bullshit. Like, I'm not allowing it. My time here. This is how I'm running things. This isn't going to be how it was. This isn't going to be. And again,
let's turn over a new leaf.
Yeah. And at that point, if it's something as little as fucking who knows, I'm not going to start speculating. But at that point, does that change your mind at all about like bringing in this guy for fucking nothing? Like, I don't know. It makes you wonder. Like, obviously, if teams are already circling and trying to find out what the deal is, like, clearly it's not something as like teams aren't fucking calling for Milan Lucic right now. They're not.
He's in the player assistance program. He ain't coming out.
And Corey Perry, like, I don't know, like, if it's something as little as whatever it may be, does that change your mind at all about possibly bringing him in, like, in a role?
So to do what?
To play the role that Milan Lucic was supposed to play.
Why can't a guy like Morgan Geekie do that with a little bit more upside given his youth?
Because listen,
why would we go for an aging veteran?
And this is why. Because you play a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, Revo hasn't been the Revo of the past. Max Domi hasn't been the Max Domi of the past. Like, but again, we don't have anything that can match up to that. And don't even fucking tell me Trent Frederick.
No, I'm not. Exactly where my mind went.
Yeah,
but he's like the only like.
But we need him to play though. We need him in the lineup playing. He's not a fighter. Like, again.
No.
Yeah, Bruce Cassidy, I think, wanted when he got drafted out of Wisconsin. We didn't draft him in the first round to be a fucking fighter. No. He wasn't. He was buried in Providence, just like you started seeing Johnny Beecher starting to be. He was buried in Providence, and now all of a sudden he's getting an opportunity, and look what's happening. He's got 4 goals on the fourth line so far, and he's making an impact, same as Frederick.
Yep.
So, yeah, my question is, to play that role that Milan Lucic was supposed to play. And I'm not saying that Perry would go fucking toe-to-toe with Reeves, but again, just to have that kind of equal playing field.
Yeah, he'll do the sticking up for your teammate.
And again, this is by no means trying to start controversy or whatever, but like, you're less than 24 hours after this releasing and terminating of the contract, and teams are already circling and asking about the availability. Kind of makes you wonder, and that's kind of my mind went to Kyle Davidson, and good for Kyle Davidson. Like, this is the kind of organization he wants to run. This is no bullshit. That's how it should be run, right? And
the Bruins should not obtain more bullshit.
And like, again, that's why I was trying to get your guys' take. Like, if we do find out because again, I worry about the toughness piece of things, and Mikey on this is Mike Sullivan on Something's Brewing. He brings up, yeah, Zadorov is a good option. I mean, I think you're gonna have to give up
You're
a
going to
little
give
bit.
up at least. He'll go for less than like Hannafin and Tanev will, but he'll still cost at least, I'd say, a second. But you'd have to make the money work because he makes more money than Forbert does.
Yeah, so
But that's a guy you want. Like you have big defensemen that don't play big. Carlo, I can kind of understand with his injury history.
yeah,
He's kind of like not removed the physical element, but he's dialed it down. But he impacts his defensive game in other ways. I'm fine with that. Derek Forbert's just a pylon that plays in the penalty kill and costs $3 million fucking dollars. That's what he does.
yeah,
And he's literally like, if I could punt him into the sun, I would, but I can't. But I would. And nobody's taking on that $3 million because what's he gonna do? Nothing. Not nothing. But
do you
you
move
don't.
Do you move Grizzly?
I don't want to.
I don't want to, but
Yeah, I don't either,
But I think like if you know you're not going to sign him, and this isn't like we're going to win the Stanley Cup this year, and you know you're not going to sign him because you have Mason Lowry who can possibly play top 4 minutes and is on an entry level deal.
Not the way he's looking right now.
You probably do that. He's got offensive upside, but he gets caved in way too much. His
defensive game is not NHL ready, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on.
Yeah, Mason Lowry is exactly what the fan base thinks Matt Grzelcyk is. That's the problem.
Yeah,
and Matt Grzelcyk's actually very effective. Go look at his metrics. If you fans don't believe me, go try and understand them yourself. But they're good, and he's impactful. And you probably will miss him when he's gone. And Mason Lowry's getting caved in every night.
yeah.
Talking about smaller defensemen, Torrey Krug would make such an impact on this team. And it really sucks that he got buried in that awful St. Louis roster.
He chose that himself. I don't feel
true.
Yeah. I'm a Matt Grzelcyk defender, dude, till the end. Like I love his game.
I think he gets moved though. I don't know if like Don Sweeney actually will, but if the offer's good enough, it'd be really hard to say no if you know you're not going to sign him next year.
But so the thing is, what are you bringing in though? Like in your mind, what are you looking to bring in? If you're
this is a bridge year, dude. To me, this is such a bridge year. Like, let the kids play. Figure out what you have.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't last year. This is not last year by any means. Like,
hey, the record is indicating that it's trending that way.
No, it's not, because guess what? The team is exactly looking like what it's looked like at the beginning of the year, and it got masked because of winning and good goaltending. Goaltenders are human. They're eventually going to have bad games. I'm not going to fault Jeremy Swayman for probably 3 of the 4 goals that were scored on him in Detroit.
Yeah.
You can probably say the same for Olmark to a degree, but goaltenders are human too. The Bruins don't get caved in at 5-on-5, but it's very even with their metrics. Like their goals percentage is even. It's like barely above 50%. Core side, they're under 50%. They get caved in sometimes and they're chasing the game, but they're in it because of the goalies. It is what it is. But you're in a year where you don't have money. You lost your 2 centers. You're kind of just making it work with what you got. That's what this year is for, to see what you have with these kids. For the first time, you have youth. See what you have. You saw what you have at Low Ryan. You sent him down so he can develop more, and there's nothing wrong with that. No need to rush the kid. But
to answer Chris's question,
to go all in at this deadline is to me is not really. I mean, this isn't a year where you're probably going to win the Stanley Cup. This is a year where you're going to be competitive and you might be a playoff team. But I don't think the Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah, no. Zach,
you need better depth too.
Yeah,
scoring wise.
So to answer Chris's question, when we were talking about Grizzly, like he goes, "Well, what would you bring in?" And I think with the Bruins, they need, and obviously you might have to give up another pick here, there, whatever it might be. It wouldn't be straight up for Grizzly, but a top 6 scoring winger, because Charlie Coyle's been great. David Pastrnak does David Pastrnak things. We all expect that from him. But Jake DeBruski's been terrible. Brad Marchand isn't having the greatest year offensively. I mean, Pavel Zacha has been great, but like you got to bring in another top 6 winger that can score, because
And
Jake DeBrusk is not a top 6 winger.
Grizzlick would make, like, to Zach's point, a good hockey trade, like what you saw with Columbus and Nashville years ago with Seth Jones and Ryan Johansson. That just worked for both parties at that time, and for the longevity of it, it worked. And if you're gonna part with Grizzlick, like if you want draft compensation, cool. But I do agree, get a scoring winger.
Like we have, like you said, if it say 2-3 months from now, Lowry's defensive game has developed, and he can play at an NHL level and not get caved in on every 3-on-2, 2-on, like whatever it might be, then I trade it, like you said, it'd be a great hockey trade. It would work for both parties. Bruins have a defenseman they can part with. They need to bring in a scoring winger. Find a team. There's plenty of teams that could use a defenseman like Grizzlick. There's so many suitors. Yeah, there's so many scenarios where a trade for Grizzlick could work. It's just all about finding the right one and finding a player that's the right fit for the Bruins, because I really think
fit is a big thing. It's not high either.
No, it's a little over
3.5. Even financially, like a team with maybe a little bit of space at the deadline, they can absorb that. And it's not like you're trading like Seth Jones, and it's like, oh shit, someone's got to eat half of it, get a third party in to like be the broker. Like, you don't have to go that route. So it just poses a question. I mean, I do agree with the toughness thing, but it's like, don't bring baggage in when you've had to deal with it the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even if they can't make something work, do you consider bringing up a guy like Fabian Lysell? 18 games, he's got 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points, and is a +6. So I mean, listen, we're kind of trending on this, finally giving these kids opportunities, right? And it's paying off for us. I mean, look at Patra. He's made the most of his opportunity. Beecher, same way. Like Lowry, obviously needs a little bit more work, but I think we're going to be talking about a top pair defenseman at some point, if not, a top 2 pair. But why not bring up a guy like Lysell? Like, I don't know, man. Like, what's the worst that happens?
You give him a 9-game skid, like you did for Patra, and then you made your decision. Like you did for Lowry, you made your decision. Granted, he came in because of injury, but still, you got a nice look at him. It can't hurt. Like, I mean, the Bruins don't have draft capital to really part with,
right?
Either. Like, if anything, they need to obtain draft capital, not give it up. And unless you're going to trade, and the free agency class is extremely loaded. So if you want to bring in like a legit third pair defenseman, physicality, toughness, the whole shebang, you got the summer to do it. It just depends what's out there.
Well, that's why it makes me kind of lean towards them hanging on to Grizzlick. Like, I feel like they're not going to take on any more money, right, for an extended period of time, like someone already under contract. Like, listen, this Grizzlick contract is going to be freed up at the end of the year. Do you let him?
So is Forbert, and so is Shattenkirk. So you have 3 pieces to fill in on the back end, but one of them could be Lowry.
Right. So my question is do you let them ride it out this year, and then you have all that? I mean, they're still serviceable defensemen. Matt Grizzlick sure as hell is. Shattenkirk has been pretty good.
He's doing what he's. Well, the third pair is a nightmare. They don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they need to figure that out.
Honestly. They haven't had any stability there. And
they keep rotating them out. I mean, I get Forbert was out for a time period, but you're just rotating Mitchell and Shattenkirk with Forbert, and it's just you kind of are seeing what you saw with Connor Clifton and Forbert. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Ian Mitchell is terrible.
He is
so bad.
Dude,
at least Derek Forbert serves a purpose on the penalty kill. Ian Mitchell put him on the ice, and it's just.
But even then, lately, Forbert he's been a fucking traffic cone.
Yeah, no, and actually looking at Ian Mitchell's like metrics, they were better than Forbert's over this 3-game skid.
Yeah,
but you're seeing with these losses, you're seeing all these glaring holes that were there at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
No one wanted to admit it because they were winning and everyone was happy and sucked into the record, and the goaltending was elite and they were keeping you in games. But the Bruins were chasing games a ton. offensive scoring is not very consistent. You're relying on your top guys. You're getting caved in defensively. It's shit that was there since game like 3 when they went to California, but they were winning and they were finding ways to win. It just has kind of caught up with them a little bit, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Get the adversity out of the way now. Get it out of the way. Like, you didn't face any last year.
Yeah,
you
dude.
got your lunch money stolen from you in the playoffs, and you got complacent in the month of March. So get it out of the way now. Charlie McAvoy touched on it. He said it's a good thing they're facing it. Just play through it, but time will tell what they do.
Yeah, they were.
They did with DeBrusque too. Like, Matt. All this talk about Matt Grzelcyk being in a contract year. So is Jake DeBrusque, and he's a UFA. They both are. So decisions are going to have to be made. But I agree. If you're going to trade Grzelcyk, at least get a scoring winger. Maybe someone that'll at least be inclined to sign if they are indeed a rental.
Yeah.
I mean, sticking on the. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. You're good, man. I was thinking out loud.
I was going to say, sticking on the topic of defensemen, I mean, I think we have to talk about Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and the Norris Trophy.
Yes, I am so ready for this.
This is one that I have a lot to say about because
idea.
Yeah, so what Quinn Hughes is doing, is really amazing, and he's having a phenomenal season, really establishing himself as one of the NHL's elite offensive defensemen. And I call him offensive defenseman, and I'm going to come back to that. And I mean, Cale Makar has been great too. I mean, he's second in points with 32, most takeaways with 20 among defensemen, most assists most assists in general, 26, 14 primary, 3.77 points per 60 minutes. I mean, he's playing great too. But here's my thoughts.
Sure.
It's the Norris Trophy. It's the best defenseman award. I don't understand why all of these offensive stats are coming into play. It's like, and there needs to be 2 separate awards: best defensive defenseman and best offensive defenseman, because the Norris has turned into a best offensive defenseman award. That's just what it is.
Yep.
And if Quinn Hughes keeps up the goal scoring, keeps up the assists, he's going to win it because he's going to end up being the defenseman with the most points. And with this award, that should not matter. I've been saying this to other people, that people I talk to, my friends, whoever I may be talking to, and this comes up. Again, another hill I'm willing to die on is that it's a defensive defenseman award. Let's give it to the defenseman with the best stats defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares how many goals he scored? That shouldn't matter for the Norris.
Yeah, that was like last year. So, I mean, Carlson won it because he hit 100 points. He sucked defensively. He was arguably the worst defenseman in terms of actually playing defense. I honestly advocated that it should have went to Adam Fox. He had the points, but he was also like the best defensively. And even Hampus Lindholm I think he finished top 5 last year because his metrics were good. But no, you're right. It's a points thing. And as long as you're good enough defensively, you don't have to be great, but good enough defensively, you're probably going to win the Norris. They'll probably vote for Quinn Hughes just because it's different. But the race between him and Cale Makar is a lot closer than people want to admit.
Yeah, I mean, Cale Makar is Cale Makar, but what Quinn Hughes doing and emerging himself like this is just.
How are you going to win? How are you going to win the Norris Trophy, right? As the best defenseman, as a fucking -26.
There's no way he's a -26 when he's outscoring opponents 26-11 when on the ice.
Erik Karlsson?
Oh, Karlsson?
Erik Karlsson won the Norris last year, finishing off the year as a -26.
Because he did something no one did in 30 years.
Exactly. And the reason why I'm going to advocate for Hughes is what his team is doing as well, and how big of a contributor he is to his team's success. San Jose was one of the worst teams in the NHL last year, and you're going to say that he's the most important defenseman, best defenseman, whatever. That's a crock of bullshit.
It's because he hit the century, man. That's the only reason why. It was obvious. I mean, Fox was arguably the best defensively last year.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree it's going to come down to Makar and Hughes.
Yeah, this year I don't see it. Like last year, it was. somewhat close. I feel like
No,
this
last
year,
year it was runaway Carlson because he hit the 100-point mark. And
But
no
again,
defense-
and people know though. People
but
knew
I-
like instantly.
I advocated that it should have been Fox because of his defensive metrics, and he still hit almost 80 points. But yeah, once Carlson hit the 100, it was like a shoe-in. But
yeah, it signed, sealed, and delivered once Carlson hit 100 points because nobody's done that in 30 years, and it was a points thing. And then if they didn't give it to him and they gave it to Fox because of his defensive metrics plus the points, there would have been an absolute uproar from NHL fans because, oh my God, he hit 100 points. Why didn't he get the Norris? Because Erik Karlsson's not an offensive player. Like he's a defenseman. Let's process that for a second.
It's a shame too, because you have like a lot of these defensemen that are actually outstanding defensively that I'm not saying they'll never win a Norris, but it's like they won't get the recognition they deserve for a Norris. Like,
how about a guy like Charlie McAvoy?
Three I can think of. One's McAvoy, 100%. He has the points, but it's like it's almost not enough. But his defensive metrics are there. Miro Heiskanen arguably is probably one of the best, if not the best, shutdown defenseman in the league. He just doesn't have the points and is stuck playing with Ryan Suter the entire time. Where you look at a guy like Cale Makar, who is blessed playing with Devin Taves, and he pretty much can do the defense thing while Makar also does the defense thing, but can do the offense thing. And then you have a guy who probably no one knows about because he plays in Carolina, and that's Jacob Slavin. He is arguably one of the best shutdown defensemen also in the league, but he will never come close to the points.
Yeah, another guy I want to bring up too is he finished 5th in Norris voting last year, but to your point, he's one of those guys that probably will never get the top 3, top 2, or win. You know, the love that he should get is Josh Morrissey out of Winnipeg.
He had a good year. He had a good year too. Where did he finish last year? I thought he was up
5th.
there last.
He finished 5th, but I don't see him ever winning. Winning the trophy. I mean,
he just had like a really insane career year last year and looked really fun.
Yeah,
and that was like a point. It was partially a points thing, but he was still good in his own end.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's nasty, dude. And I'm looking at this, the list, and yeah, Lindholm finished 4th. I mean, Lindholm had a fucking career year too. I mean,
but he was like really good in his own end.
Yeah,
that was the whole thing with him is like he was amazing in his own end.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes 9th, Dahlin 8th, Heiskanen. Dude, you mentioned Heiskanen. Sully and I were talking about it one of our first episodes. Yeah, one of our first episodes. I said that he was a top 3 defenseman at this point. I think I put him at 3.
He's easily for me top 5 for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
If I don't put him 3, he's 4th. I mean, he's
I had Makar, Fox, Heiskanen,
McAvoy,
Hedman at 4, and then 5 I had McAvoy.
Yeah, they should do a defensive defenseman award, like something.
Do like the Bobby Orr award, like if you want to talk offensive defenseman.
Like an example, I guess I could just a random player, but like someone who might just not be like say like a guy like Rasmus Dahlin, if he's like a minus like 20 but has like 88 points and wins the Norris, it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, was he even good? Did he do anything defensively? Clearly he didn't. It's shit like that where like I agree with Zach. Get a defensive defenseman award to give players the recognition they deserve for defending well. Like, shutdown defensemen don't get enough love. Like, as a Bruins fan, I hear it all the time. Like, Brandon Carlo's a pylon. Brandon Carlo's not a pylon. Brandon Carlo is a shutdown defenseman. Because he doesn't have 50 points, like, that doesn't make him a pylon. That makes him just good at his job. Yeah. Like, they don't get the recognition they deserve, man.
Yeah, last year, I mean, one of our first episodes here on Drop the Mitt, so it was around award time, and I can remember how fucking outrageous. I mean, I agreed with most of the awards, right? I mean, they were all pretty cut and dry last year.
Yeah, for the Hart you knew was gonna go the way it did.
Yeah, the Vezina was pretty cut and dry. Jack Adams, all of them. I think the only one that really even like the Calder, I mean, it was closer, but you knew Matty Beniers was going to take it.
I think Logan Thompson had a chance until he got hurt.
Yeah, and
Once
then
he got
McDavid
hurt,
kind of
that
just
was
ran
just
away with it.
Yeah, once he got hurt, that was it.
Yeah.
This year, I think it'll be a race, but I think it's starting to kind of pull away right now.
Dude, McDavid is coming back though. He's
9
on a fucking.
points in 2 games. Holy
He's got
shit.
11 and 3 now. He's got 11 and 3
fucking
games now.
That's fucking
Dude, the
ridiculous.
Oilers, like, I'm just going to say it now and it can be documented, but the Oilers are going to do what the Panthers did last year, and they're just going to claw their way into the playoffs and go on this deep fucking run, and
Or
they're
what the
going to, like,
Blues
go to
did
the
in
Stanley Cup
2019.
final. It's
Dude, I think they have McDavid right now. If I believe I checked DraftKings, and if I can remember correctly, I think they have McDavid at like a plus 400. That's outstanding value for McDavid to win the Hart.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
toss a couple. Yeah, dude, toss like because the heater that he's on right now, 11 points in 3 games, like, and he's starting to look
yeah.
like I mean, last year the way that he was playing, he could fucking score at will, right?
Oh,
like
he was
whenever he
dominant.
wanted.
Like, what he was doing was just historic. Like, shit we haven't seen in
Yeah,
years. Like, he was just doing like what Gretzky was doing, like when he was playing, and to do it in this league is so hard. Like,
yeah,
it's so different,
And it's funny you mentioned the coaching switch where they just maybe needed that kick in the ass.
It seems like it might be working.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
and
are they back? I mean,
yeah, and I think, like I said, I think their Achilles heel is still going to be goaltending down the stretch, and it's like until this offseason, I'd be going balls in to bringing in a number 1 tender. I don't care what the fuck I have to give up. I mean, obviously you're keeping Draisaitl and you're keeping McDavid, but listen,
you gotta find ways to keep them like wanting to stay and wanting to be part of things and being happy, and Draisaitl has a year left. I mean, everybody's starting to question what's going to happen with them. I mean, I know we've touched on it previous episodes, but it's like it's not really an outlandish thing. But if they start playing well and they can kind of go on a run, be like the Panthers, play playoff hockey for the whole year and dig yourself out of this hole and get the wild card and just get in. Just get in. That's all you got to do. Stay healthy and get in, and anything's possible.
Yeah, I think at that point, dude, like, especially if they make a run, I don't know if they're going to – I don't have them winning the cup, obviously. I think it would be outrageous if they were able to get that done.
Who cares? Anything's possible.
It does. It is. But at the end of the year, I would have no problem moving a Darnell Nurse. I'd have no problem moving an Evander Kane. I'd have no problem moving.
They all have trade protection. That's the problem.
Well, they'd have to make it work, obviously. But
and who the hell is taking on Darnell Nurse's awful contract?
No one's taking that.
You'd have to eat a good amount of that contract. But if it means
probably have to be like 60% at least.
Yeah. But do you think it's worth it though? If you're bringing in a number 1 goalie, I think it is.
100%.
Who else do they have on the back end? That back end's already.
I love Evan Bouchard, dude.
Yeah,
I love Evan Bouchard.
That's one guy. That's one dude.
But you need a goalie, dude.
I know.
Matthias Ekholm.
That's after that. It's.
I like Philip Broberg.
It's bleak. I mean, they're not like standouts, but it's a little murky.
I think it'd be easier for them to bring in, like, I hate to say it like this, but like spot defensemen rather than fucking what they've been trying to do and bring in spot goaltending.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, dude, listen, you ain't fucking Jack Campbell. Yeah. I didn't trust that signing when they fucking did it.
I mean, it would have been fine if they did it. Just don't pay him $5 million a year.
It was bad. And like I said, it just seems like they put themselves in these spots. And yeah, we talked about it, 2 weeks ago. It's a Ken Holland thing.
Yeah.
That's what that is. I mean, he's
got to go.
Yeah, and he will be gone. I mean, I can't.
After this season, there's no way he's still in Edmonton. There's just no way.
No,
and if
they'll transition.
Yeah, but well, listen, boys.
So for next week, since we just like did awards, do you guys want to like come in with like your top 3 for the main awards, just to see like just to like since we're a quarter away through the season?
Yeah, I'm fine with
a fun segment.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. We could do all the awards.
We could debate a little bit.
Yeah, do some, bring some stats to the table. I think that'd be fun. So yeah, that'll be next week. And obviously, we took 2 weeks off, but it was good to get back in the swing of things. And
yeah.
if there's nothing else, is there anything else you guys got?
Just real quick, touching on the Hurricanes' inconsistencies. Like they've just been like, it's just been bad, dude. Like it's like they're not playing the same dominant way that they usually are, and that's the problem. Like they've had some alarming quotes come out like the last couple of weeks. Like, Jordan Stahl spoke out, just doesn't look like we're completely buying into things, like how we do things. Like just saying they look like they're a 500 club. They're winning some games, losing some games. They're just kind of getting by. Like Brendan Moore's labeled it as inconsistencies, and he's frustrated. And this guy, like, he's kind of set up the system there, and it's worked. They kind of like went on a little heater. They won 2 games in a row, outscored their opponents 10-5. They had 15 different skaters have a point in their 6-3 win over Edmonton. So it's like, okay, things are looking up. Then they get killed by Tampa Bay. Ranta had a 467 save percentage, and Tampa Bay had a 53% shooting percentage at the end of the game. Brendan Moore was pissed to the point where he just was like, yeah, the shit I'm going to say in the locker room, I can't say here.
Yeah.
They've popped off a little bit, outscoring their opponents 7-3, winning 2 games in a row, but it's just nuts that they are so inconsistent given the talent that's somewhat on the roster and the system they play.
Yeah,
They're good at 5-on-5. Their PK's taking a hit. They're 24th in the league after being second last year. Goaltending's dead last in save percentage.
Yeah, that whole
Something
division has been. Yeah, that whole division has been inconsistent, dude.
The Metro's going the polar opposite that I envisioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rangers at some point down the stretch, especially, are going to run away with it. But man, seeing Philly at 3, Washington even at 10-6-2.
Charlie Lindgren, baby.
Yeah, he's
carrying that team in net right now.
He is, and he's going to get a fucking bag after too. I don't know if he's under contract for next season, but that's usually how it goes. He'll get fucking paid next year. But yeah, that division is a lot more. I mean, right now, yeah, Rangers at 15-4-1, Carolina 13-8. Who the fuck knows, man? Philly at 11-10-1. That's
for Carolina and New Jersey, they need to figure out their goaltending, or else I think it'll kind of doom their seasons. And this is kind of like
teams that need to figure out their goaltending.
Yeah.
For Carolina, it's almost more important. At least New Jersey has their core locked up, and they're able to at least compete and contend for the next coming years. But Vitek Vanecek's looked like a pile of dog shit, and Akira Schmid, he's only played 8 games, but he's looked a little bit better, but not by much. But dude, if Carolina doesn't figure it out, man, like, it's a cup or bust year for them. I've said that before, because they have a lot of contracts off the books, and if they don't kind of get back to their system and they kind of play the way they are, teams can kind of have their way with them. And I don't think the fan base there, I mean, this is a team that's been labeled as a true cup contender for the last few seasons. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Zach mentioned there's a lot of fucking teams that
need goaltending,
that have goaltending issues, and only a few of them are going to actually get to address those.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, Zach, is there anything you wanted to bring up?
Oh, I think I'm all set. Covered all of the points I was getting at.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, it was a good 2 weeks off. I hope you guys and I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, but we're kind of back in the swing of things now.
Heck yeah,
kind of getting back into our routine, and we have an awesome interview. I mean, every interview we do is awesome, and getting to talk to these these players who play at such a high level, just getting to know them and their what it took to get to this point. But this week we have from the National Development Program, the U.S. National Development Program, and Boston University commit Kamil Bednarik. He's a center for the U.S. National Program. He just signed his letter of intent a few weeks back with Cole Hudson and Cole Iserman, which was pretty cool. He was part of that too. He talks about what that was like, getting to do that with his buddies and playing on this loaded team. So yeah, without further ado, we bring you Kamil Bednarik. Welcome back to another episode of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. We are with U.S. National Development Program Center in Boston University commit Kamil Bednarik. How are you doing, buddy? Good to have you on.
Yeah, good. How are you? Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
yeah, man. First off, I want to congratulate you on, officially signing with BU.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
it was so sick, dude. You got to do it with your two buddies, and
Yeah.
talk to us about what that was like. Obviously, having two of your good buddies next to you, and Cole Eiserman and Cole Hudson. Talk to us about that day, and obviously getting to do that with your buddies.
Yeah. I've been buddies with Cole Hudson for a while because he's from Chicago and so am I. So I played with him back in the day. So it was pretty cool that we're going to the same school now. And obviously, I built a really good friendship with Cole Eiserman over these past 2 years. So yeah, that day when we signed, it was just really cool, and yeah, it was awesome. Can't wait for it.
What made you fall in love with BU? Like obviously you had to have gone to the campus. Like what
Yeah.
made you fall in love with that school, and were there any other schools that were, even close to BU in your mind?
Yeah. So I played before the national team development program. I was at New Jersey Rockets. So I was on the East Coast, and then with my time out there, I just like fell in love with the East Coast, and I wasn't really too sure like where I wanted to go to school yet, but I definitely knew I wanted to go to the East Coast rather than like the Midwest or something like that. I just fell in love with like the East Coast so much while I was there. And then, so with the Rockets at the very start of the year, they did like a college exposure camp. So they're really good with like getting colleges to come and watch our games and stuff. So I'm very thankful for that. And there was a few teams that came out. Boston University was one of them, and they watched me play. So we just like it was like games between like the Rockets players, and then they would just come watch and evaluate us. And obviously, I did pretty well there. And Boston University is one of the schools that had interested in me, and I wasn't really too sure. I didn't know a lot about Boston University at the time. But after they talked to me, I did some research, and I thought it was pretty cool. And there was also like pretty much like all the Boston schools had interest in me, so I ended up deciding to go to like one of the Boston schools because I liked that area a lot. And then I went out to visit like all the Boston schools. And then Boston University was obviously my favorite out of all of them. I think it's the best fit for me. And I just like I fell in love with the city of Boston. And also playing there this season, it was like the coolest thing ever. And that like really solidified my decision to like go there. Like just even driving to the rink from the hotel on the bus, like we were stuck in traffic and just like I was just looking out the window with my headphones on, and it was just the city was just beautiful, and it was so cool. Can't wait
Yeah.
to play there.
Yeah, so actually that was one of my questions later on is I want to know about you being able to play at Aganis, dude. And obviously you guys went in there and dominated. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
Um, talk to us about what it was like, that crowd, just the college atmosphere. Like, talk to us about what that was like.
Yeah, it was unreal. They actually set up like a few like cardboard like pictures of me, Hudson and Iserman.
Yeah.
So like there were like a few like BU guys in the stands like holding up like just like pictures of us. So that was like pretty cool when we first walked out. And yeah, I've never really played in front of that big of a crowd before. And it was just really cool with the student section and stuff, and the arena is sick, so it was awesome playing there.
Hopefully they weren't chirping you too bad.
No,
No,
yeah,
man.
it was all right,
I
but
mean, like I said, you guys went in there and I would have liked to have made it. But from what I've heard, all the people that were there, like I said, you guys dominated. But so obviously, yeah, being committed to BU, what are you most excited for next season? Obviously it's a loaded BU roster. They're fun to watch this year. They got a lot of talented kids, on that team. What are you most excited for next season?
yeah, I'm just very excited for just like the college life. It's gonna be a new experience. It'll be pretty cool, like managing like a good amount of school and then also the hockey. And also just like building relationships with the guys there, the new teammates I'll have, new coaches, and it'll be pretty cool with like the student section there. Like every game, I haven't really had that type of experience yet, so it'll be pretty cool. Just like the college hockey aspect of it, and hopefully, we go. Well, when I'm there, we go pretty far. So I can't wait for that.
For sure, man. Earlier you mentioned, you're from Illinois, specifically Elmhurst. Your early days starting off playing hockey, who would you credit most for getting you started playing hockey and ultimately helping you fall in love with the game?
Yeah. I would actually say my mom, she actually taught me to skate when I was little. So maybe when I was like, I would say when I was 3 years old, my mom started teaching me to skate because they came from Slovakia. They were born in Slovakia, so they came here and started a family here. And then they like watching on the TV. They loved watching basketball and hockey, so they decided to like throw me on some skates, and then my mom would like take me to like a free skate and teach me how to skate. So I'll definitely dedicate like my love for hockey to her because she pretty much taught me how to skate originally. Like the funny thing was like every time like I would make a lap around like the ice sheet, my mom would give me like a one Skittle for every time I went around. So I'd like keep going. So it's
That's
pretty
so sick,
funny.
dude. So
Yeah,
did she
what's
know
that?
how to did she know how to skate originally?
I don't think she knew. Well, I guess she was alright. I mean, she was.
Yeah.
I guess she would just like. Well, she was just like gliding. She wasn't really skating. So I guess she learned with me at the same time.
So you owe your hockey skills to Skittles, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Not a paid partnership or whatever, but
No.
so I looked up, man. Where you're from is less than an hour away from the United Center. Um,
Yeah.
Growing up, who was your favorite team? I mean, I have to assume it was probably the Blackhawks. I don't know, but um, for one, who was your favorite team, and did you have a certain player or players that you kind of gravitated towards that you really wanted to be like?
Yeah, it was definitely the Blackhawks. That time when they were winning all those cups in 2010, 2013, 2015, like that was like just so electric watching them and going to the games also. I went to a few games, and yeah, it was definitely the Blackhawks. I watched them on TV every single game growing up, and I would definitely try to want to be like Patrick Kane was one of the guys I would love watching, just unreal player. And I would also love watching Marian Hossa
Oh my
because
god,
he's
dude.
he's also Slovak. So
Yeah.
my family is from Slovakia, so I would watch him a lot. So those two guys are definitely two guys that I would be watching out there.
So I got to ask you for players. I'm a little bit older than you, but for players that you've been able to grow up and watch, who would you say is like on your Mount Rushmore of like best players that you got to grow up watching?
Yeah. Well, it would definitely be, I would say Patrick Kane. Well, are you referring to watching in person or just like on the TV?
Just yeah, just even growing up watching on TV in person, whatever. Like obviously during like I grew up in the mid '90s, so it's
Yeah.
little bit different. So for like yeah, players that you just grew up watching on the TV in person, just
Yeah.
players you
Yeah,
idolize.
yeah, a few guys I would say definitely Patrick Kane, probably number one. And then maybe I loved watching also Patrice Bergeron play. That's who I actually try to like model my game after right now. I like to say we play very similar type games. He retired, but when he played, and I would also say I loved watching Alex Ovechkin. He was one of my favorite guys to watch, scoring all those goals. And finally, I would probably say Steven Stamkos. Also, I just love watching goal scorers, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good list. That's all legends right
Yeah,
there. So this season you're over a point per game player. But one thing that really stands out to me is how responsible you are in the defensive zone in your own zone. Um, I wanted to know. So you mentioned Patrice Bergeron. Are there any other players in the league right now that you kind of try to emulate your game after, kind of that just responsible in your own zone, but can also make plays offensively?
yeah. I try to model my game after like a current player now would be Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's
Good one.
200-foot player, center. He's also a playmaker just like me, but at the same time he can score goals. So yeah, I would say Pierre-Luc Dubois and also maybe like a Michael Backlund, same type of player. We have the same number, so yeah, those two guys.
He's a sneaky player. Like he's always in the running for like Selkie trophies. Like you don't hear a lot about him,
Yeah,
but like you actually get a chance to watch him and he's phenomenal in his own zone. But
yeah.
you're having a really strong season, you and all your
Thank
teammates
you.
for that matter. What are some areas in your game that you really pride yourself on? Um, Areas that you really care about, and then what are some areas that you really want to try to focus on improving before going to BU?
Yeah. So I'll definitely say my 200-foot game is my biggest strength and my biggest asset. I'm a very versatile player. I can play like in any situation of the game, like 5-on-5, 5-on-4, 5-on-3, overtime, and I can be successful in those situations. And along with me, like being a 200-foot player and playing well on both ends, I would say that a weakness of mine would be, or like an area where I need to improve is I tend to give up too much offense to help out the defensive side when in uh I need to like learn how to balance in between. So like instead of giving up that too much offense and helping out the defense, like create a balance because I feel like I don't show my offensive skill as much as I have it. And just to help out the defensively, and I like to play a little bit more safe than I need to.
Yeah, for sure. No, that definitely makes sense. I wanted to kind of off tangent a little bit. Is there any specific reason why you wear number 11? I always like it's my all-time favorite number. Always has been. I got to ask you, and you wear number 11. I have to ask if there's any
Yeah, I
significance to
see the
that.
jersey behind you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Actually, it's not really any particular reason. I actually wore number 38 my whole life because of Pavel Dimitra. He's a
Oh, dude.
Slovak player. He died in like that plane crash back in the day.
Yeah, man,
So
he was
I wore
unreal.
38 like my whole life in honor of him. But then when I went to the Rockets, there's actually a player who already had number 38, and I had to switch my number, which kind of sucked. But I just like decided to go 11, just like the two number ones. So
That's sick, dude.
I'm using that now again. So it's the 11 and 38 are like my two lucky numbers. So yeah,
Man, Pavel Dimitra, that's a name like fuck, absolute legend, dude. That story was so unfortunate, but he was a guy that I remember growing up watching. He was unreal, dude.
yeah,
Um, you guys, couple weeks back, you guys went to Finland. Talked to a few of the other guys on your team. You guys had an absolute blast.
yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from that trip, and what was your favorite part of that entire experience?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway for sure, with our coach was telling this like pretty much the whole trip after that one Sweden game where we kind of fell apart towards the end. Just like being committed to the team for the full 60 minutes. We kind of had to work on that during our time in Finland after that Sweden game, but yeah, just like we have to play until the very end because teams, those guys from the other countries are really good. They're going to come back. So we kind of let off that gas pedal a little bit against Sweden, and it came back to haunt us a little bit. But then after that game, we really focused on that, and we got really good with that, being committed to the team for the every minute of the game to until the end. So yeah, and then, the funnest, like the best experience or whatever I had there was probably our rooms, like in like the hotel. They were literally we had like a whole floor to ourselves, so
Oh
it
man,
was like awesome. We were just going room to room, just like having some fun. So that was awesome.
any lobby mini hockey tournaments going on?
No, but a few guys actually brought their Xbox and were playing some Fortnite. But
That's sick, dude.
yeah,
I remember growing up always they would have those mini hockey tournaments in the halls, dude. Just the
yeah, I
funnest time.
used to do that all the time.
Obviously, you guys would probably cause a little more damage at this point, but yeah, dude. That
Yeah.
like I said, everyone I got a chance to talk to like Brody and John, and they had an absolute blast with it. And I don't. Was that your first time going overseas?
No, we actually last year we went to Switzerland twice. We had 4 nations and then 5 nations. So and then this year that was our first international in Finland, and then we go to Finland again later in the year.
You're going back to Finland?
Yeah, for the Worlds.
Yeah, that's unreal, dude. So obviously 2024 you're draft eligible. Um, what what kind of player and just person overall, for NHL GMs, whatever, what kind of person and player would you say they're getting in Kamil Bednarik?
Yeah, obviously, I would say my two-way game. I can play really well both sides of the ice, and I like to say I play like the NHL style of hockey. Like I play very well in all situations, very versatile. Wherever they need me, I can play on the penalty kill. I can play at 5-on-5. I can play power play. I'm really good on the net front position, but I can also play on the half wall. I'm very versatile. And obviously off the ice, I'm a great guy, great teammate. I'm pretty quiet, but I like to keep to myself, not really bother anyone. But yeah, I'm a really nice teammate, great guy. I would also say I'm a great leader, and I like to lead by example and like to say stuff like when the team is down and like say stuff at the right times, pretty much.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I kind of want to go back because I had forgotten to ask the whole commitment to be you. So you mentioned your buddies with Cole Eiserman, Cole Hudson. Originally, Eiserman wasn't even committed to BU. He was
Yeah.
Minnesota. Where What was your reaction when you found out that one of your teammates, one of your buddies, is now going to be going to school with you?
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you found that out?
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised. It was kind of unexpected, but obviously it was great news. He's a really great player and a good teammate. So it's obviously a great addition to our commitments that are going up there. So I love that he committed there. It's awesome. Can't wait for it to play with him again.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are line mates right now, or am I
Yeah,
correct? And you guys just the chemistry that you two have, it's unbelievable just being able to watch you guys. And obviously, I don't get to watch a lot of the games live. It's more so
yeah,
highlights and stuff. But it just seems like you guys know exactly where the other is going to be, and you
yeah,
guys just have that understanding of how each other, how you guys play the game. Um, the last question I have for you, although like I know for sure it's whatever team decides to draft you, which you'll hear your name for. Are
yeah.
there any teams or cities for that matter that you love the idea of getting the chance to play for?
Yeah, I guess kind of basic answer, but I would love to play for the Blackhawks, come back home and like, kind of be like a hometown hero and stuff. And obviously like my parents can come watch me. It's like 20 minutes away from my house. Like my
Yeah,
family can come watch, so that would be really awesome.
and get to play with a guy named Connor Bedard. I guess that'd be
Yeah,
cool too, right?
yeah,
But hey, man, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you got have a super crazy schedule.
yeah, no problem.
Keep ripping it up out there, dude. You guys are dominating, and again,
Thank you.
we want to congratulate you on officially signing with BU, and
Thank you.
you'll be in my neck of the woods, dude. So hopefully we can link up at some time.
Yeah, for
Possibly do
sure.
another interview, man. I really appreciate
All
you.
right. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man. Thank you. That was Kamil Bednarik of the U.S. National Development Program, and Boston University commit. You can catch that episode. It's episode 22 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.